Hey guys, Pat here, and today I want to answer that simple question that you probably clicked on in the title, and I've said this in a couple of darn videos now, but guys, what is a NAS? I want to answer it in the most simplest way I can, but also add a little bit of complication there at the end, what you can do if you get a bit more savvy, and most of the time you can find tutorials and things like that, but let's get into it. What exactly is a NAS? Well, first of all, NAS stands for Network Attached Storage. And what it just means, like, simply is that you get a bunch of hard drives and you put it in a box, and then it's attached only, not to a computer, well, kind of a computer, but to the network. So you can access your files over the network on a different computer. Now that is the basics of cloud storage, where you have a computer somewhere with hard drives and you access them remotely, and that's a NAS. A NAS is just basically hard drives connected to a very underperforming computer. Like, it doesn't have to be powerful at all, and all it does is just control the connection between incoming and outgoing, and you can store your files, your movies, your games, photos. It's your own little personal cloud. And that really is the simplest form of a NAS. And most times you will see it in very small businesses. There might be a computer dedicated just to file storage. It might just be sitting in the corner, but technically speaking, you could call it a NAS. There are direct versions of software that you install on the computer that are dedicated to being a full performance NAS, such as FreeNAS, which is literally a free NAS software that you can look up and have a Google, see what it is. It's actually really interesting. Personally, I use FreeNAS myself. I've had a lot of experience with it, including installing, screwing things up, reinstalling, and working on it. But basically, small businesses use this because most of the time it's the cheapest and easiest way to store files of your business, potentially maybe other documentation such as videos. Maybe you run a company that does teaching tutorials or something like that. You will store a lot of information that's there. And the main reason you would do that on a separate system is, well, first of all, you can access it remotely from anywhere in the world if it's set up correctly, but also it has multiple redundancies. And what I mean by that is it can actually have settings there where you have, let's say you have 4, and I'm really simplifying this. Guys, if you know what I'm talking about, please just tune out, because I'm really trying to make this as simple as possible in almost a term that kids can understand. You got 4 hard drives, for example, 2 mirror the other 2, and from then on, if anything happens to the 2 hard drives, the other 2 will have a backup of that single hard drive. Now, we all know that mechanical hard drives can fail. It is a part of life that mechanical things fail. I mean, think about your car. It will run for a long time, but it needs service. Now, a hard drive doesn't get any service, but what it can do, it can be mirrored and can be saved. So what will happen is that you only get the storage of 2 of those hard drives, while the other 2 are your backups and will mirror every single file you put on there. And NAS systems or NAS software come with the ability to do this. And that's really, really good for making sure your documents are absolutely safe. Nowadays, we do have the ability to store it in the cloud, and that's pretty good for small businesses. A lot use things like Dropbox or Google Drive. But again, if you want it to be locally stored so you don't need internet to access it, that is literally the best case scenario, is to have a NAS. Now, you can buy a pre-created NAS from basically any computer shop, and what it is just a little box with slots for hard drives, and it contains a very small CPU, a bit of RAM, and it's a very mini computer. You cannot install Windows on it. It won't run anything like that, but it will have some proprietary NAS storage software. The thing about NAS is that you can build it yourself from old parts of a computer. If you have a spare computer lying around, you can build a NAS by literally just putting everything together and installing software like FreeNAS, and it will work exactly the same. The reason it's so popular is because it can be done by people at home. Now, what would be the usage for home? Well, photos, for example, films and movies that you've burned off DVDs onto your hard drive and not downloaded or pirated. And it can also be a great place to store, obviously, maybe your own email server. Yes, you can have actual applications running on it that can serve things like at-home security, CCTV recording straight onto the NAS. You can store your emails. It can be your own email server. You can run your own domain from it. You can run your own website from it by hosting the website on this computer. The NAS really becomes a mini server, or, well, a big server in the end of the day. But NAS itself is a type of software, but it can run multiple apps on it. There is the darker side of life with NAS systems, and I'm going to mention it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm not going to tell you how to do it. I'm sure you can find it. Don't ask me. But NAS has been used for nefarious reasons. Pirating, for example, pirating TV shows. You can potentially automate the download and saving and everything of TV shows, movies on your NAS, and then basically jump into your TV and play movies, TV shows off it as if you were using Netflix. Not literally Netflix, but something very similar. So there is a lot of nefarious use for NAS, but I'm sort of more trying to navigate this conversation to the positive and the actual useful application of it. And that is really at-home storage of important files, home movies, potentially photos, your own website. If you want to run a blog, you don't have to pay anyone. If you want to run some pretty blog, you can host it yourself. And of course, I guess the best thing about a NAS is that it's local. It cannot be accessed by Google. It cannot be accessed by Dropbox. It is extremely safe at home as long as your security at home is safe. So look, the basics of a NAS is literally a computer that's connected to the network that works as a storage box. And you can buy these in all sorts of forms, but most of the time it really is just a spare computer that you put a specific type of software on. Now, if you would like me to do a bit of a video about FreeNAS itself, I would love to. I'm not an expert, but I'd love to give you the gist of it and how it all works and what you can do with it. So please let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that. But this video is specifically just to give you a small introduction into what NAS is. So I hope you enjoy. I hope you learned a little bit, and I hope maybe this got you curious to look into building your own NAS. I highly recommend it if you're a tinkerer, if you're just getting into computers. Well, let's just say you've already built your own computers, you've already built a water-cooled computer, and the next step is really a NAS to play around with a bit more server software management side of things. And I'm sure if you're, young at heart, or maybe a kid or a teenager, and you're looking to move into the industry of server support or somewhere along the IT side of things, I think tinkering with your own NAS with an old computer is an absolute great way to get into it. Guys, thank you very much for watching my channel. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you again. Bye.